Hello everyone, a warm welcome to all of you to StudyIQ. In this video, I will be discussing the issue of Kashmir, its brief history, the causes of conflicts in 1947 and the events after that. My name is Dr. Mahipal Singh Rathore and I am a faculty for History and General Studies at StudyIQ. Let me begin with a brief history of the region of Kashmir. Now, around 2300 years back, it was a part of Mauryan Empire and later it came under the Kushans and they made it into a big center of learning for Buddhism. Buddhism prevailed during this time in Kashmir. It was a dominant religion. Also, you must remember that Kanishk, who was a Kushan king, he called the fourth Buddhist council in Kashmir. So a very important event, fourth Buddhist council, it was held in Kashmir. After the demise of Kushans, the area of Kashmir came under the various Hindu dynasties. They ruled from 5th to 14th century. One of those dynasties, they built the Martand Sun Temple. This is also important. The Martand Sun Temple was built by the Karkota dynasty. That is not, the name is not important for you. Just remember the name of the temple, Martand Sun Temple. After that, around 13th century, the area came under the Islamic influence and most of the population converted to Islam, and slowly and steadily the king also converted to Islam, and thus the Sultanate of Kashmir was founded in 14th century. It continued up till the 16th century when finally it was conquered by the Mughals in 1586 under Akbar, and by the time 1751 came, the Mughals were very weak and thus the Afghans invaded and captured Kashmir, and the Afghans under the Durrani Empire. Ahmad Shah Abdali under the Durrani Empire. Later on, the Sikh Empire under Maharaja Ranjit Singh, they defeated the Afghans and took Kashmir from them. So it came under the Sikh rule in 1819. But after some years only, the British defeated the Sikhs after the death of Ranjit Singh. And during this Anglo-Sikh war, the British were supported by one of the Dogra rulers. These Dogra rulers were under the Ranjit Singh only. They were under the influence of Sikh Empire. They were small-time chieftains of Jammu region. It means they were like feudal lords, but they supported the British and they were rewarded for this. The Maharaja Gulab Singh was given Kashmir by British. He paid 75 lakh rupees to the British to buy this territory of Kashmir. So from 1846 till 1947, for 100 years, this Dogra dynasty ruled Kashmir and the rulers were Hindu, but the majority population was Muslim. So this is a map of the Kashmir kingdom under the Dogras. You can see the entire green colored area. This is the kingdom of Kashmir. This was the flag which was used. Now when India and Pakistan became independent and partition happened, the ruler of Kashmir was Maharaja Hari Singh, and he was a descendant of the Dogras. But he wanted to stay neutral. He did not want to join either India or Pakistan. He wanted Kashmir to be the Switzerland of Asia, independent and neutral. But there was a political party in this kingdom of Kashmir called the National Conference. Earlier it was called the Muslim Conference. Later the name was changed to National Conference. They were struggling against the Maharaja for self-rule. They wanted democracy in this kingdom of Kashmir. They wanted the king to be just a constitutional head, but they wanted a constitutional monarchy just like England, where the king is there but he has almost no power and parliament has all the power. And so Sheikh Abdullah, he along with a few other people had founded this party, and they were leading this struggle since 1930, and by the time 1947 independence arrived, this National Conference was the largest political party in Kashmir, and it was also supported by the Indian National Congress. So in 1947, during the time of partition, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he argued that according to his two-nation theory, which was one of the basis for partition, the state of Kashmir with its 77% majority Muslim population, it should join Pakistan. This should be a no-brainer, he said. Obviously, Kashmir will join Pakistan. But the Maharaja, as I told you earlier, wanted to stay neutral, and also since he was a Hindu himself, he did not want to join Pakistan, but neither did he want to join India. But he signed a standstill agreement with Dominion of Pakistan. It means we will maintain status quo until further deal is made, that you will not annex us and we will not join you. We will continue as things are. We will continue trade, travel, communication, everything, but we will not join you. So this was a standstill agreement, and he was also in talks with the Indian government to sign a standstill agreement with India. But while these talks were going on, there was a rebellion in the Poonch area against the state police and army. So these people in Poonch, they rose up against the state army, and the army fired upon them. There were few deaths, and this led to a rebellion in Poonch region. There was also communal violence, large-scale communal violence in Jammu against the Muslims who were during the partition. As you know, there were riots going on in all over India. Many Muslims were killed, and many Muslims left Jammu to go to the newly formed country of Pakistan. Now, Pakistan supported tribal Pashtun fighters. They invaded from the northwest frontier provinces. They invaded Kashmir on 22nd October 1947. The reason they gave was that we are coming to support this rebellion in Poonch, and also to against the atrocities against Muslims. This was the official reason given by the Pashtun attackers. So this was the kingdom and the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So this attack occurred from Baramulla and from Uri into the valley of Kashmir. They reached almost till the outskirts of Srinagar, and you can see here, this is Poonch. So this rebellion was in Poonch, so they attacked from here and here. As soon as this attack happened on 22nd October, the Maharaja's army could not stop it, and the Maharaja Hari Singh asked Indian government for his help. But Indian government said that if you want our help, you have to accede to India, you have to join India. Accede means join India, then only we can give you military help. So he signed the instrument of accession on 26th of October 1947. This means Kashmir joined India officially, and as soon as this was signed, Pakistan objected to this. They said that this instrument is signed under duress, means under pressure, by an unpopular ruler. Hari Singh is not popular, and he does not represent the will of the public. The people do not want this. This is what Pakistan said. This is a famous photograph. You can see here the day instrument of accession was joined. This is Sheikh Abdullah sitting behind him. This is Maharaja Hari Singh. So Sheikh Abdullah was also agreed. He also agreed to sign this instrument of accession, because it was said that this is provisional, and Sheikh Abdullah was promised that there will be a time when the will of the people will be ascertained. It means a plebiscite or some manner. The word plebiscite was not used. It was just said that the will of the people will be ascertained. It can be in any manner. It can be in elections to the assembly, or it can be elections to the constituent assembly, which will form a constitution. So Sheikh Abdullah endorsed, and also it should be noted that at this time Sheikh Abdullah was in favor because he was good friends with Nehru, and Nehru had promised him that we will determine the will of the people will be determined, and the future of Kashmir will be according to the people of Kashmir and not according to just the whims and fancies of the government. So Sheikh Abdullah endorsed this accession, and he was appointed the head of an emergency administration by the Maharaja. Thus began the War of 1947. It is also called the First Indo-Pakistan War. It is also called the First Kashmir War. And in this, Indian Army airlifted its troops to Srinagar. There was no road connectivity, no good road connectivity to Srinagar. So troops were airlifted, and they managed in repelling these attackers from the Srinagar area, and they reached up till the northern areas of Kashmir. Heavy fighting happened at high altitudes, especially in the areas near Kargil and Dras. So the army managed to push the attackers, but then there was winter, so no fighting could happen in winter because it snows and all the roads are blocked, and thus there was a stalemate in the war. While this war was going on, a provisional government in the area of western Kashmir was formed. It was called Azad Kashmir. So these western areas lied west of Poonch and Rajouri, and they were the areas of Muzaffarabad. Now please look at this map here. The attack happened from Uri, Baramulla towards Srinagar, and they also attacked here from this area, and which they called Azad Kashmir. So this was Azad Kashmir. Capital was Muzaffarabad here, and this was the western part of the kingdom. The line where ceasefire happened was this one. It was called the ceasefire line. The troops stopped here. The ceasefire was mainly because winter had set. There was ice, there was snow all over the mountains and all across the passes, and so there could be no war. Now, India went to United Nations in January 1948, few months only after the beginning of the conflict. And United Nations, they set up a commission for India and Pakistan, the UNCIP, which came to India and Pakistan. They toured the area of Kashmir and they tried to resolve the conflict, but it was unsuccessful in the long run. Also, a Security Council resolution was adopted. What was this famous resolution? It is the resolution 47 of the United Nations Security Council, and it gave 3 consequential non-binding steps. This is very important. Consequential means only if step 1 was complied with, only if step 1 happened, then we can go to step 2, then we can go to step 3. Also, this was non-binding. The resolution by UNSC was non-binding. It was not compulsory for India or Pakistan to follow this. So the first step was that Pakistan should withdraw all its nationals, all its people, its irregulars and its army from Kashmir region. Secondly, India should also withdraw its army, majority of its army, and keep only a minimal force which would be required to maintain law and order. So only that much army you should keep which is necessary to maintain law and order in the region. But this will happen only if Pakistan withdraws its army. So only after step 1, this step 2 can happen. Finally, after India has also withdrawn its army, a plebiscite will take place to ascertain the will of the people. Plebiscite means it is a vote by the people to determine whether they want to join India, Pakistan or become independent. Plebiscite is any vote which determines the popular will of the people directly. But Pakistan did not follow the step 1. They did not withdraw their forces, and till this date the stalemate continues. Pakistan says that we cannot withdraw the army because India will attack and capture the entire area. Similarly, India also says that if we remove our army or even if we take down the number of army, Pakistani army will attack and capture the areas of Kashmir. So that ceasefire line of 1948, it became the line of control, and that is the de facto border currently between India and Pakistan in the region of Kashmir. And this line of control was officially named after the Shimla Agreement of 1972. So in Shimla Agreement, India and Pakistan decided that now we will bilaterally decide what will be the future of Kashmir. Earlier, this was under United Nations. This issue was under United Nations. But in 72, under Shimla Agreement, both the countries decided that the line of control is a de facto border. We should not cross it until the final solution is found. And we will talk with each other bilaterally. That is, no other third party will come in between. Only we will resolve this problem. Now, this is a map. Look at it carefully. So this is the ground situation in Kashmir currently. This is the line of control between India and the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. You can see this is the area which Pakistan calls Azad Kashmir. These are the northern areas. They are mainly tribal areas of Gilgit and Baltistan. So the northern area is Gilgit and this area is called Baltistan. After Gilgit and Baltistan, you can see this is the valley of Kashmir here, and this is the Jammu region, and this is Ladakh. This is the region of Ladakh. Also, there is another aspect to this problem now. China has occupied Aksai Chin after the war of 1962. This is the area called Aksai Chin. Although it is very sparsely populated, but it was the part of Kingdom of Kashmir and now it is under Chinese control. Also, after this war, Pakistan wanted to develop a friendship with China, and to solidify this friendship, they simply gave away a large piece of land, that is the Trans-Karakoram Tract or the Shaksgam Valley. This area is the Shaksgam Valley. They just gave it away to China as a gift, and this has been another problem now. India says that now earlier only India and Pakistan were a party to this conflict. Now China is also the third member because some area is under the control of Chinese. So this has further complicated the problem of Kashmir. Now I will talk about Article 370. So before that, I will tell you that Sheikh Abdullah was made the Prime Minister of Kashmir, not Prime Minister of India. He was the Prime Minister of Kashmir in 1948 and he only headed the government. So earlier it was a temporary government during the emergency situation of war, but then he became the head of the government itself and he was there till 1953. What is this Article 370? It was an article drafted by Sheikh Abdullah and Gopal Swami Iyengar They wanted to give some special allowances or special provisions to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but these provisions were to be they were temporary in nature until Jammu and Kashmir conflict, the issue of Jammu and Kashmir was solved. Initially, this article was not in very much in favor amongst the politicians, especially like B.R. Ambedkar. He refused to draft up this Article 370, although he was drafting the entire constitution. Also, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was against this, but Gopal Swami Iyengar said that we need this Article 370 because Kashmir currently is in a disputed situation. The matter is under the United Nations, and also half of the territory is occupied by enemy, and so it is a very special circumstance under which Kashmir is joining India, and thus we should give some special allowances for Kashmir to join. Majorly, according to the Article 370, there are few powers, like all the rules of the Indian Constitution are not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir until and unless they are ratified by the State Assembly. The State Assembly has most of the powers. You can say that in some amount it is semi-autonomous. The state of Jammu Kashmir is semi-autonomous according to this Article 370. Also, there are some small few things like there is a different flag for Jammu and Kashmir. The executive head will be called Prime Minister and not Chief Minister, although later it was changed, and so on. So this is Article 370. Now in 1953, Sheikh Abdullah was removed from his post of PM, and this was orchestrated by the central government only, by Jawaharlal Nehru, it is said, and later he was jailed for 11 years up till 1964. He was released in 1964 and then he began talks with Nehru again. But this time the talks were disrupted due to the death of Jawaharlal Nehru. In fact, Nehru had sent Sheikh Abdullah to Pakistan so that some dialogue, some process could be started to resolve the Kashmir issue. But while he was in Pakistan only, Nehru had died and thus these talks were stopped. And again he was jailed for a few years. Sheikh Abdullah was jailed by Indira Gandhi. In 1974, Sheikh Abdullah signed an agreement with Indira Gandhi. They are called the Indira Sheikh Accords. According to this, Sheikh Abdullah again became the chief minister, and he gave up the demand for plebiscite. Basically, the crux of the accords was that he was demanding plebiscite, which was promised in 1948, and he dropped this demand of plebiscite and he assumed the position of chief minister. He remained the chief minister until his death in 1982, after which his son Farooq Abdullah became the chief minister. In 1984, Indian Army takes the control of Siachen Glacier. So this we took under the Operation Meghdoot. This name is very important. Remember this, Operation Meghdoot. So Siachen Glacier is one of the largest glaciers in the world. This is situated here. You can see this is Siachen Glacier. So LOC started from a point here below the Siachen Glacier, and this area was not demarcated. It means that even in 1948, after the 1948 the ceasefire agreement, this area was contested. No one, because this is such a high altitude, no one can even live there. But Pakistan was trying to capture this, and Indian army beat the Pakistani army to the highest ridges of Siachen Glacier, and from that time we have been in control of Siachen, and it is called the highest battleground in the world. After the Siachen issue, there is also one demographic issue which is making this conflict very typical. This is the geography and the demographics. It means the population. So this is the valley of Kashmir, this region. So this is majority Muslim. This is the area of Jammu. This is majority Hindu. And this is the area of Ladakh, which is having a huge population of Buddhist. Around 40% of the population here is Buddhist, and around 40% is Muslim. So this is a very typical feature. Also, these areas are geographically a bit different from each other. Ladakh is situated in the Trans-Himalayan region, and it is geographically it is very different from Kashmir and Jammu, and the population, the language, the culture is also different. Here again in Kashmir and Jammu, the population demographics, as I have told you, they are very different, and this has complicated the issue very much, because whenever there are elections in Jammu area, parties like BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, they will win elections. But here in Kashmir, parties like National Conference and PDP, the People's Democratic Party, only they will win elections. So this has complicated further. Now let us talk about the militancy or insurgency which began in 1990s, in fact in the late 80s. So in 87, there were assembly elections held in Kashmir, but they were allegedly rigged. It means there were illegal practices carried out so that the National Conference and Indian National Congress, the coalition, they won. And as soon as the election results came out, there were protests against this rigged election. There were strikes, there were violent protests, and this violence went out of hand. The Pakistani government and the ISI took brilliant use of this situation. They promoted Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front and Hizbul Mujahideen, two terrorist organizations, to start a separatist insurgency. Insurgency means an armed rebellion, people fighting the government with using weapons. So this separatist insurgency, that it means that they wanted to separate from India. It was started by these two organizations mainly, and they led to many protests, many killings, violence, and they also linked this cause to the independence of Kashmir. Initially the protest started against the elections, but it soon went on against the Indian government, the Indian state, and they wanted independence. So many young Kashmiris were sent across the LOC. They were trained by the ISI, the militias, in terrorist camps in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. When they came back, they attacked Indian forces, they attacked Indian public, and many terrorist attacks carried out in 1988-89 onwards. Another aspect of this militancy was the genocide or the ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Pandits. Now, Kashmiri Pandits were a minority in Kashmir Valley. Remember, I am talking only about the valley of Kashmir and not about the area of Jammu and Ladakh. So in this valley of Kashmir, these Kashmiri Pandits had been living peacefully since many thousands of years. And they were very affluent, even though they were a minority. They had very good positions in the government. Many of them were teachers in schools, and thus they were very well off. They were not very poor. But in 89, there was violence against these Kashmiri Pandits by the separatists. Many important leaders of this community were killed publicly. A High Court judge, a Kashmiri Pandit, a High Court judge, was murdered. Then a senior leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party, he was also Kashmiri Pandit, he was murdered publicly, he was killed publicly, and nothing could be done. And around 300 Kashmiri Pandits were shot or killed in a few months. So by the time January 1990 came, the insurgents were putting public posts in newspapers and warning the Kashmiri Pandits that you should leave Kashmir as soon as possible. And also there were loudspeakers going on throughout the day warning the Kashmiri Pandits to leave. So on 19th and 20th of January 1990, the Kashmiri Pandits fled the valley of Kashmir. Around 2.5 to 3 lakh Pandits fled. Overnight they left the valley, and they left all their property, all their houses, businesses behind, and they fled to Jammu. Now most of these are living in camps. They are still living in tents even after 25 years in Jammu, in Delhi, and their condition is very deplorable. It has also often been called an ethnic cleansing in India. So ethnic cleansing means the removal of an entire ethnic group of people from a certain area. The militancy that started in the late 80s and the violence led to the Government of India applying the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, or the AFSPA, in 1990. So AFSPA gives some special powers to the army and the police. They give powers like you can arrest anyone without a warrant. Anyone who is seen to be doing a suspicious activity, he can be shot upon by the armed forces people after giving a warning, and you do not need to arrest him or carry out any investigation. This AFSPA was necessary because of the large scale violence that was going on. The government had already resigned by 1990, the government of Farooq Abdullah, which had come to power in 87 by those rigged elections, and so there was complete lawlessness in the state. There was no government. That is the reason that the Kashmiri Pandits could not be saved. They just fled because the government was not there to support them. And also due to the absence of government, there was now president's rule in the state, and thus AFSPA was introduced. And throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Indian Army carried out counter-insurgency operations against this infiltration of terrorists and the terrorist attacks which were going on. But up till 2004, the insurgency was the violence was there in large scale. But after 2003 and 4, the militancy has subsided. but up to some extent it is still present. And you might have seen in newspaper that some amount of militancy attacks happening every month or every week, and soldiers are dying, still dying, but it is nothing compared to 1990s when thousands of militants were killed, hundreds of soldiers were killed every year in this militancy. So this has become one of the most potent internal security issues for India, maintaining peace in Jammu and Kashmir. But after 2003, elections were held in 2002, 2008, and then in 2014 peacefully. In fact, in 2014 elections of the state assembly, around 65% people came out to vote, which was a record for Jammu and Kashmir. And so slowly and steadily, the state is coming back to normalcy. But events like the 2016 protests against the killing of the terrorist Burhan Wani, they again pose problems to security in Jammu and Kashmir. I hope you understood the topic, and thank you for watching this video.